Hey guys, welcome back to Professional Weekends YouTube channel. Today we're at home and we're going to be working on a DIY Halloween decoration project. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, so make sure you stick around and let's go. Alright, so each year for Halloween we do some sort of theme for the entire house and for our costumes. Since we moved into the house, one year we did the Hollywood Tower of Terror from Disney's Hollywood Studios, and last year we did Super Mario Brothers. This year our theme is going to be Star Wars, and one of the things that we do to help sell the theme, just to make sure everybody knows exactly what's going on, is we like to make a sign for that theme and make sure that it lights up so that way everybody can see it at nighttime too. So it's pretty neat. It's something easy and cheap to do, and it kind of helps go along with the theme, and just added decorations for the holiday. And today I'm just going to show you how I do my signs for Halloween and how cheap it is and how easy it is. And this time around we're going to be making the Star Wars logo. So I think it's going to be pretty cool, especially when it lights up in that typical gold, or as close to as I can get. Once we get the template applied to the box, the next step will be to paint the box. I'm going to give it like a nice cool space theme, so basically mostly black, a couple stars. I think I'm going to try maybe some pinpricks in the stars too, so that way some of the light comes through the stars at nighttime too, and you can kind of still see that they're stars. And then also the other thing that we need is some tissue paper in the color that you want the light to be. So basically we stick some LED lights inside the box. We put some tissue paper covering up the holes. In this case it's going to be gold or yellow, and then the light will shine through from the back and project that out of the sign. So it'll be pretty neat. We'll see how this one turns out. The other ones that I've done have turned out really well. The other ones were a little bit more complicated, I think, than this one too. This is going to be a little bit more basic because I only have one color to deal with. If you have multiple colors, you can use multiple pieces of tissue paper to help get those different colors. And we're going to see how it goes. So let's get started. Alright, so what you're going to need to do this is you're going to need a box, also an old projector, and some sort of laptop or fire stick or something like that that you can use to project the, to basically cast the image that you're looking for, or some sort of laptop or fire stick that you can use to display the image. So we've got this all set up. First thing we're going to want to do is patch up any holes that your box has. I'm going to start by just taping the top shut, and then this box also had a hole here, handle grip, so I've just applied a piece of tape to the back side there. Other than that, the box is in fairly good shape. I guess I already had one small hole down here too, which I've already patched up. So let's get started. We've got a Star Wars logo that I found on the internet projected here onto the box. Main thing here is just make sure that it's straight, make sure that everything's level, and that the logo is where you want it, because basically wherever that is, that's where we're going to draw and that's where we're going to cut the holes. I think that looks pretty good, and now all we have to do is get a Sharpie and just trace it out. Alright, and there we have it. With the projector turned off, you can see my trace job. It's definitely not spectacular. A couple places I had to go over a few times, and some of the lines are a little wavy, but the good thing about using a sign with mostly block letters is I can straighten that out when I use a straight edge to cut it out. So no big deal. We're going to move on to getting a straight edge and cutting it out. Alright, so we got it all cut out. Looks pretty good. Now, I'm going to paint this whole thing in black, so it's not really that big a deal for me, but if you're going to do a different color, I do find that it does help to kind of get a big, thick Sharpie, like the super thick ones, and outline all the letters, and then if you have any edges that aren't quite straight, then the outline helps kind of hide them a bit, and also makes the letters really pop. But since I'm going to paint the whole thing black, for me it doesn't really apply. Couple tips on cutting this out is just go slow. You don't want to make a mistake, especially on your last letter. If you do make a mistake, you can try taping it. The spray paint doesn't really paint over the tape very well, but it's doable. Really it's only going to last a night, so it doesn't really matter. I recommend making a first slit with the knife, and then kind of going back and doing a deeper cut the second time through. And also too, just make sure that you save all your the insides of the letters. If you have any like A's and P's like I do, or sorry, A's or R's, the P's would work too. save the little insides, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to apply some tape to hold them in place so that way they look like they're floating. But yeah, we'll basically tape the whole thing up to give it like a shining look before we apply the tissue paper on the back there. So next step is paint, but it's a little dark tonight, so we're gonna have to get to that another night.
2,000 years later.
All right, guys, so it's a new day. We've moved to the backyard. We're going to be painting this sign today. So we've got the GoPro, we switched cameras. We're gonna give you a nice time lapse here as we go along painting. Basically, the idea here is we're gonna paint all of this black. Don't forget your little inserts for the different letters. So we need to paint those. We're gonna give this 1 or 2 coats depending on how many it needs, and then we'll come back and we'll hit it with a couple white stars. So look really cool, so let's go. All right, so the spray paint has dried. I did about 1.5 coats. I just kind of hit some of the weaker spots again with the second coat, but overall it looks pretty good. Now we're gonna move on to creating some stars. For the stars, I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do it. I've tried on a test piece here, maybe just cutting some holes into a piece of cardboard and trying to spray through that. That actually doesn't work out too well. But what does work better is just kind of getting a bunch of white spray paint on the cardboard and then just kind of dripping it in different spots. So that's how we're gonna do it. All right, we're all done with the stars. I think that turned out pretty well. You can take a look at yourself here. See, the nice thing about this technique is that it creates a bunch of different sized stars. So some big ones, some small ones. I even put the little letter cutouts there inside to get a couple drips on them too. So I think we got a pretty decent, even but not symmetrical pattern. It's kind of what we're looking for. So I think it looks like stars to me. So the next step will be adding the tissue paper, and we'll have to do that after the paint dries, so that'll be tomorrow.
Tomorrow for sure.
All right, guys, so it's the next day. The paint has all dried. Everything's looking really good. So now we're gonna move on to one of our last steps, not the last step, but now we're going to apply the yellow tissue paper, basically is what it is. So first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna cut an access hole basically throughout the entire back of the sign. It's not gonna be seen, so just to make it easier to get in there, I'm gonna just basically cut all the way around. I want to leave a little bit of space here on the sides so that way I can tape it back up. And so once I get access to the back panel, I'm basically just going to spray this 3M spray adhesive. This stuff works really well. And then we're going to gently lay down our tissue paper and try to make sure that it's all straight, no wrinkles or anything like that. And that'll give us that yellow color when the light shines through from the outside. Now, granted, you could just use a yellow light, but this way, if you use the tissue paper, you can actually change different colors of, for different letters. Like when we did the Mario Party sign, each letter was a different color, just by having a white light behind with different colored tissue paper on it. Also, too, on this sign in particular, I'm going to see if maybe I can poke some holes in some of those stars that I put out there the other day, and that way maybe at nighttime it'll give like a little bit of a glowing star effect too. So I'm going to give that a shot. So first thing, we're going to cut out the back, and then we'll apply the tissue paper. All right, so I think that turned out really well. Everything's pretty crisp and just minimal overlap. Now, this was a little bit of a trickier sign to do because the letters are all intertwined. So really, almost the entire front end of this box is cut open. But if you have more block letters that don't run into each other like this, you can easily hide those seams behind the cardboard, and then you won't have these small seams. But given for what it is, I'm actually pretty happy with the small little overlap. It's going to be a little darker in those places, but I don't think most people notice. The next step is we have to apply our little cutouts here. So basically, they're going to go on there like that. And what I'm going to do with these, I'm just going to hit the back of these cutouts with some more of that spray adhesive, and then I'm just going to gently stick them right onto the tissue paper. All right, we got 2 steps left here before we add lights. First thing I'm gonna do, because this is a Star Wars sign and there are stars in the sign, I wanna make sure those stars light up at nighttime, so I'm gonna drill some holes with a small tiny little drill bit in the larger paint, white paint spots that I've put on there before. So let's drill them. All right, last stage before we add the lights. The lights are going to reflect better off of a white background than they do off of the brown cardboard. So if you really want your sign to pop, you need to make the inside of the sign white. Now, I've done this before in the past by just painting the inside of the sign white, which really worked really well, but paint is fairly expensive. That year I happened to just have some extra white paint laying around, so I didn't mind using it. But this year what I've got laying around is some paper. This is the faux brick that I used on the Mario Party sign last year, and since I don't plan on putting up any more brick, I can use this. The back side of it is white, so that's what we'll be using. If you have any wrapping paper, that would work just the same. So the idea is we're going to spray, I think I'm just going to do the back hatch because that's most of the back. I'm going to use that same spray adhesive from before, spray that down, stick the white paper to it, cut it, and tape it together, and then basically all we need after that is just a light and some dark. All right, and that's it. I've left a little bit extra of the backing paper there that I think I'm gonna just tuck in the sides, but all we need to do now is just put some lights in there and wait till dark. All right, guys, and here's the final product. I think that looks pretty awesome. All the little stars that we drilled, you kind of got to move around to see them, so I don't know how obvious they're going to be at nighttime, but they're definitely there. I think overall the sign turned out really well. It definitely looks like Star Wars. Love the color. And that's just, again, with a white light on the inside. So just used a white LED strip light. It actually is color changing, so I can adjust the color if I'd like. Oh, and by the way, I made a Millennium Falcon to go with it. So I thought that was pretty neat. All 100% out of cardboard except for just the little screw there for the dish. And I put lights on the back of it too. Make it look like it's taken off. Can't believe it's all out of cardboard. I mean, it's pretty good size. You can see based on my hand, this is about 3 foot by 2 foot. So the two of them, I think, will complement each other pretty well. And at nighttime, probably have to shine a spotlight on this, but those thrusters are really gonna glow. All right, so there you have it. All set up and all ready to go for Halloween. So as I said, this is the third one of these kinds of signs I've made. Each one's a little bit different, but they're super easy to make. They're really cheap. It's all made out of cardboard. You don't want to set it out for Halloween too early because obviously if it rains, these things are damaged, but basically the day of, I just kind of string it up onto the garage, and I think it looks pretty cool. All right, guys, so here's your pro tips if you want to make your own sign. I'd say number one is get a good quality cardboard box. Usually I just, we order so much stuff online that just kind of, if I get one that's the right shape and size and a good quality, I'll just hold on to it throughout the year. Pro tip number two is I do like using the tissue paper for the light color. Like I said, if you have a more intricate sign like the ones I've done in the past that have different color lights, that way you only have to put the one white light behind it, and then you can shine each letter has a different color light. So I think that's pretty neat. And pro tip number three is get creative with the spray paint. This one was fairly basic in that regard because it was basically just all black. But I did have fun kind of putting all those little stars on there. I thought that was kind of neat, and found a different way to do it. Spray paint is really easy to get a bunch of different colors and textures with, so don't get intimidated by it. But mixing up colors and just kind of lightly spraying them, you can get a lot of interesting colors. I'll give you a closer look at the Millennium Falcon. But you can see the texture and the color on the Millennium Falcon. That's just several different layers of spray paint, different colors, different shades to just kind of randomly put on there. It wasn't really much rhyme or reason to it, and it kind of gives you that neat battle-worn look. I didn't film anything about the Millennium Falcon because honestly, it's the first time I've tried anything that intricate. I wasn't really sure how it was going to come across, or even if it was going to work, but it actually turned out really well. I'm super happy with it. If you guys like it enough, maybe I'll do something like that in the future. Maybe we'll do a video on something like that. But you just kind of got to think it through, got the cardboard folded in on itself. It's getting late. I'm gonna wrap this video up here, so that's gonna do it for today. Remember, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let us know in the comments below what's your theming for Halloween. We'd love to hear about it. And with that being said, we're out of here, and we'll see you next weekend. And last year we did Super Mario. Last step before we add the lights. Well, that's not true.